You're watching The Digital Lifestyle, your 24-hour source for Apple news and rumors.
All right, welcome back to Root Access. Ryan Ritchie with you. Jamie DeGrazio, former Mac genius. I was never a Mac genius.
You weren't good enough, I guess.
I wasn't good enough. But I would hope that our powers combined are good enough to answer the questions you may have. And don't forget, you can always send them to root@thedigitallifestyle.tv. Now, so I've got a question from Nathan in St. Louis. I'm going to kind of paraphrase it because I think it gets to a bigger issue. Nathan is on dial-up, which it's easy to mock.
Yeah, sure.
People be like, how can you be on dial-up? But in some parts of the country, you have no choice.
Yep.
In St. Louis, you should be able to have another choice, but we'll play along. All right. The concern is you have so much now that's like, let's say there's a software update, be it on Apple or Microsoft. These are hundreds of megs in some case. Yep. And I don't entirely understand whether both companies have just given up on the dial-up people, it's their problem, or, you know, what do you think? Are we leaving people behind? And is it just like, well, if you don't have broadband, too bad? It's almost like it should be a requirement to have broadband to own the computer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if they actually put that on the back of the box, like requirements for OS X if they list broadband connection. I mean, they have left the dial-up users behind. That's just the reality. I mean, everything from the updates to the way websites are built nowadays with, you know, the Flash and everything, and they're just much larger. And iTunes, certainly you can't use any in the store without broadband. I remember when people would come into the Apple Store who would like need software updates, right? And Apple, you know, Apple Care would send them in, and they only had dial-up, so we would burn the updates onto a disk.
Right. Now that was, I remember this well. We're talking 2002, 2003. Yeah. So you were at the store longer than me. Did those people keep coming in? Did you see those numbers decrease?
Yeah, it sort of trailed off.
Okay.
I mean, every once in a while you'd get one person from, you know, I don't know, stuck somewhere up north or in the woods somewhere with no with only dial-up.
It was Gary. When Gary would come in.
But I mean, that's just reality. I think at this day and age, if you have dial-up, you're limiting yourself, and in terms of tech support and just what you can do with your computer, you need broadband.
I almost wonder if we might get to the point where maybe there'll be some sort of legislation that like they have to make updates available as a CD. That even if you have to pay shipping and handling. Of course, with Apple, it's always $20 shipping and handling. Yeah. But, you know, it almost seems wrong that you buy a piece of software, like let's say Leopard, and for some people that entitles you to a whole series of upgrades and updates, and for other people, you're just kind of left out in the cold, you're on 10.5, and
that's it, yeah.
Good luck. But I guess, you know, at the same time, it's kind of a product of how large and complex the operating system is at this point. And again, Apple's not alone. I mean, Windows is the same, if not worse, in terms of how large the updates can be, although Apple's been cranking out a lot of them lately. Plus, you know, those aren't the real profitable customers, because just like you said, with the movie store and the music,
they're not buying any of that. Yeah,
no,
they probably don't have an iPod.
And if they do, it's all music that they're ripping off of CDs, and Apple doesn't get a cut of that, not yet at least. And hey, what are you going to do with .Mac if you have dial-up? Yeah. So, you know, Nathan, it's a good point, I suppose. I mean, I don't think there's any going back. I don't think you're suddenly going to see these be 300K download updates. But it probably wouldn't be a bad idea, PR-wise, to maybe make an update CD available every once in a while to people like that. So I have another question here. It actually says, ask me about my Zune, and then it has your name under it. What is this all about?
Well, I don't have it yet. We're just going to promo maybe like an upcoming piece, but I am purchasing a Zune the next few weeks, hopefully, and I am going to start using that instead of my iPod.
What are you going to use it with?
Well, I only have a Mac Mini, so I'm not buying a PC. But it's an Intel Mac Mini, so I'm going to boot camp my Mac Mini. All right? And just not to use Windows, but to use the Zune software. Well, I mean, I have to use Windows, but that's the only application I'm going to be using Windows for, is to power my Zune. So
you really want to squirt songs then?
Well, I don't want to be squirting songs, but like my iPod's been, it's a little long in the tooth. The battery's getting a little weak.
Okay.
You know, I look at the current iPods available. I don't want to touch. I want something with physical buttons. And I just look at the Nano, and it's not really compelling to me. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the interface that they changed on it. Okay. And also, I'm just sick of the iPod. You know, I want something different, and there's nothing else available for Mac users. So I'm going with the Zune. I like the way the new Zune looks. I like the software. You know, I've been getting big into the Xbox 360, and I like the sort of the synergy between the two devices.
What is the synergy between the devices besides the money goes to the same company?
Well, there's like if you go to the Zune website, there's a whole like social aspect, which is kind of similar to like the Xbox gamer tags.
Oh, it's for dating. I see. All right, I get it.
But we'll see how it goes. You know, we'll detail the progress of using the Zune. I mean, maybe it'll be a disaster, and I'll go back and sell it for a Nano or something. I don't know.
I just want to recap. You're going to take a Mac Mini.
Yes.
Put Boot Camp on it.
I'm going to Boot Camp Vista on it.
And then Vista.
Yep.
Which, let's assume you're doing this legitimately. It would be several $100.
Well, I received the copy of Vista. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vista. And so every time you want to update your Zune, you're going to boot into Windows?
Yeah, but that takes a second. That doesn't take very long. You know how fast the Vista boots?
Oh, jeez.
No, but I have it figured out. I've been sort of testing it at work with the Boot Camp machine at work. You know, no Zune to fully test it, but I think I know how I'm going to get it to work. Zune's going to monitor my iTunes folder and
it'll monitor a lot, my friend.
Update changes.
There's going to be a lot of monitoring on that computer.
Update changes, and then when I boot into Windows, plug in my Zune, it'll update itself, and then I'll be done. You know, I only do that once a day, so.
So you're saying it's going to use the same music library?
Yeah, I got it all worked out.
Okay. Got it all worked out. Should be an interesting segment, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Zune, which Zune? The Flash Zune?
I think I'm going to get the Flash one black, maybe 8 gigs, yeah. Yeah.
I'm speechless. All right, we'll see you next time with the Zune. Are you going to get a tattoo? Or are you going to be like,
the Zune guy? No, I'm not getting a tattoo.
Bye, everybody.